Hey everyone, and welcome back to My Mind Mashups. Today we're taking a deep dive into something truly mind-boggling. De-extinction. We're talking about bringing back creatures that have vanished from the earth. Picture this, walking with a woolly mammoth, or watching a dodo waddle by. It sounds crazy, but get this. We've actually pulled it off before. Well, sort of. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Buckle up, because we're exploring the science, the ethics, and the wild possibilities of de-extinction based on some cutting-edge research and media buzz.
What's incredible is that de-extinction is no longer just a sci-fi fantasy, it's becoming a reality. And there are several methods scientists are using to achieve it.
Okay, so break it down for us. How are they actually doing this? Are we talking Jurassic Park-style mosquito DNA extraction here?
Not quite. While the mosquito and amber scenario makes for a thrilling movie, real-life de-extinction relies on a different set of tools. One method is cloning. It involves taking the preserved cell of an extinct species and injecting its nucleus into an egg cell of a closely related living species. It's a kind of genetic transplant. Remember the Pyrenean ibex? Or bucardo, a wild goat that went extinct in 2000.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
Well, in 2003, scientists actually brought a bucardo back to life through cloning. It was a monumental moment, the first time an extinct animal was resurrected. Sadly, the clone only survived for a few minutes due to lung complications, which highlights just how challenging this process is.
Wow, that's both amazing and a bit tragic. It's a reminder that de-extinction is still in its early stages and comes with its share of hurdles. So if cloning isn't foolproof, what other tricks do scientists have up their sleeves?
Another approach is gene editing using CRISPR technology. It's a revolutionary tool that allows scientists to make very precise edits to DNA. Think of it like a super precise molecular scalpel. They can actually insert genes from extinct species into the genomes of their living relatives.
So like splicing mammoth genes into elephant DNA to create like a mammoth-elephant hybrid.
Precisely. And there's actually a company called Colossal Biosciences that's working on doing just that. They've already created what they call woolly mice. By introducing mammoth genes responsible for cold resistance into regular mice, it's a stepping stone in their ambitious quest to bring back the woolly mammoth.
Woolly mice. Now that's something I have to see. It really feels like we're stepping into the realm of science fiction here. Speaking of iconic extinct creatures, what about the dodo? Any chance of seeing those flightless birds waddling around again?
Colossal Biosciences has its sights set on the dodo as well. They're using gene editing to try to resurrect this bird, which was tragically driven to extinction on the island of Mauritius due to human activities. It's a stark reminder of our impact on the planet, but perhaps also a chance for some redemption.
It's truly incredible to think that we might be able to reverse extinction, something that was once considered impossible. We've talked about cloning and gene editing, but are there any other methods in the de-extinction toolkit?
There's also backbreeding, which involves strategically breeding existing species to enhance traits that resemble those of their extinct ancestors. It's like rewinding evolution in a carefully controlled way.
So like breeding dogs for specific traits,
Mm-hmm.
but on a much grander scale, aiming to recreate an entire extinct species.
Exactly. For example, there are ongoing projects trying to recreate the aurochs, the wild ancestor of cattle. Imagine these massive wild cattle roaming Europe once again. It's a fascinating concept.
It really is. So far, we've focused on the how of de-extinction. But now let's dive into the why. Why go to all this trouble to bring back animals that are long gone?
That's where things get really interesting. There are many potential benefits to de-extinction, from restoring ecological balance to driving scientific innovation, and even addressing our moral responsibility for causing extinctions in the first place.
Let's start with ecological restoration. How could bringing back extinct animals actually help heal our planet?
Let's take the woolly mammoth, for instance. Scientists believe that reintroducing them to the Arctic tundra could have a positive ripple effect on the environment. These massive herbivores would trample down shrubs, making way for grasslands to flourish. This shift could actually help combat climate change.
Wait, how would grasslands help with climate change?
Grasslands are incredibly efficient at storing carbon, much more so than the current tundra landscape. So
Yeah.
by promoting the growth of grasslands, we could enhance carbon sequestration, pulling more carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere.
So woolly mammoths could potentially become climate change warriors. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's a possibility that scientists are actively exploring. And it's not just mammoths. The return of other extinct species could restore lost ecological functions and balances in various ecosystems around the world. Imagine the possibilities.
It's mind-blowing to think that de-extinction could be a powerful tool in the fight for a healthier planet. What about the scientific advancements? How does de-extinction push the boundaries of what we know?
The research and development behind de-extinction are driving remarkable innovations in fields like genetics, cloning, and conservation biology. These advancements could have far-reaching applications, potentially leading to breakthroughs in human healthcare and other areas. It's a ripple effect of discovery.
It's like a scientific chain reaction, all sparked by the pursuit of bringing back extinct species.
You mentioned moral responsibility earlier. Could you elaborate on that?
Some argue that if humans were responsible for driving a species to extinction, we have a moral obligation to try and bring them back. It's a way of acknowledging our impact on the natural world and attempting to right past wrongs. It's a compelling argument. We've caused so much damage through habitat destruction, hunting, and other activities. De-extinction could be seen as a form of atonement for our past mistakes.
And there's also the potential for economic benefits through ecotourism and educational exhibits. Can you imagine the public's fascination with seeing a living, breathing woolly mammoth?
I can only imagine. The educational value alone would be immeasurable, and people would flock from all over the world to witness these resurrected creatures.
It's a fascinating prospect. Bringing back extinct animals also rekindles our sense of wonder and awe. It allows us to connect with a world that we thought was lost forever.
It's like opening a window to the past. So we've covered the methods, the potential benefits, and even the moral arguments for de-extinction. But I know there's another side to this story, right? What about the risks and ethical concerns?
You're right. De-extinction isn't without its challenges and ethical considerations.
All right, before we get into that, I want to remind everyone that we're just scratching the surface of this fascinating topic here on My Mind Matchups. If you're enjoying this deep dive, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more mind-expanding content. You can find us on Amazon Music, Audible, Facebook Pocket Casts, Spotify, and YouTube.
Now back to those challenges. One of the biggest concerns with de-extinction is the potential impact on existing ecosystems. These ecosystems have evolved for centuries, even millennia, without these extinct species. Reintroducing them could have unintended consequences.
That's a really important point. It's like adding a new ingredient to a delicate recipe. You never know how it might alter the flavor, or in this case, the delicate balance of an ecosystem. For example, bringing back a predator like the Tasmanian tiger could disrupt existing food webs, potentially leading to the decline or even extinction of other species.
Exactly, it's a complex equation. And we need to carefully consider the potential ecological ripple effects before reintroducing any extinct species.
It's a sobering thought. We wouldn't want to create new ecological problems while trying to solve old ones. Are there any other ecological risks that scientists are worried about?
Another concern is that revived species could become invasive if they can outcompete native species for resources, or spread quickly without natural predators to keep them in check. They could become a threat to biodiversity.
So we need to be incredibly strategic about which species we choose to bring back and where we reintroduce them. It's not a decision to be taken lightly.
Absolutely. And beyond the ecological risks, there are also ethical concerns that need to be addressed.
Well, we'll dive into those ethical considerations in part 2 of this deep dive, so stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe to My Mind Mashups for more thought-provoking content. You can find us on Amazon Music, Audible, Facebook Pocket Casts, Spotify, and YouTube. We'll be back soon with more on de-extinction.
As we were discussing before, de-extinction raises some crucial ethical questions that we need to grapple with.
Absolutely. Let's delve into those ethical dilemmas. What are some of the main concerns surrounding de-extinction?
One major concern is animal welfare. Many de-extinction techniques like cloning have high failure rates. This means there's a real risk of suffering for both the surrogate mothers and the cloned animals themselves.
That's a tough one. It makes you question whether it's ethically sound to put animals through these procedures. Even if the goal is to bring back an extinct species, it's a real moral dilemma.
Another ethical consideration is the allocation of resources. De-extinction projects require significant funding, and some argue that those resources could be better used to conserve existing species and protect threatened habitats.
That's a valid point. We're facing a global biodiversity crisis right now. Countless species are on the brink of extinction. Should our priority be saving what's already here, or trying to bring back what's gone? It's a complex question with no easy answers.
There's also the argument that we might be overstepping our boundaries, the playing God argument. Some believe that humans shouldn't interfere with the natural order of life and death. They see bringing back extinct species as a form of hubris.
I can see how that perspective resonates with people. It raises questions about our place in the natural world and the limits of our intervention. It's a humbling thought.
And then there's the issue of genetic diversity. Revived populations, especially those created through cloning, tend to have limited genetic variation. This makes them more susceptible to diseases and less adaptable to environmental changes.
So even if we succeed in bringing back an extinct species, its long-term survival might be jeopardized by this lack of genetic diversity. It's like building a house on a shaky foundation.
Exactly, and we can't overlook the challenges of reintroducing these animals into the wild. We need to understand their behavior, social structures, ecological roles, and how they'll interact with existing species. It's a monumental task, not as simple as just releasing them into a suitable habitat and hoping for the best.
It sounds like there's so many factors to consider, so many potential pitfalls. It really highlights the complexity of de-extinction.
Despite all the challenges and ethical considerations, there's still a powerful allure to the idea of bringing back what we've lost, of undoing the damage we've done. It's a compelling narrative.
It really is. It speaks to our sense of wonder and our desire to connect with the past. It also raises some profound philosophical questions about our relationship with nature and our responsibility for the future of our planet.
You've hit the nail on the head. De-extinction forces us to confront these fundamental questions and grapple with the complexities of conservation in the 21st century. It's a debate that's likely to continue for many years to come.
Speaking of the future, what are some of the other extinct species that scientists are considering for revival? We've discussed the woolly mammoth, the dodo, and the Tasmanian tiger. Are there any other fascinating candidates on the list?
Oh, there's a whole menagerie of extinct creatures that scientists have their eyes on. One that comes to mind is the passenger pigeon. You might have heard of them.
I remember reading about them. Weren't they once the most abundant bird in North America? Billions of them darkening the skies?
That's right. Tragically, they were hunted to extinction in the early 20th century, but now scientists are exploring the possibility of bringing them back using gene editing techniques.
Can you imagine witnessing flocks of passenger pigeons soaring through the skies again? That would be an awe-inspiring sight. What other species are on the de-extinction wish list?
Well, there's the aurochs, the wild ancestor of cattle, which we mentioned earlier. And then there's the quagga, an extinct subspecies of zebra that roamed South Africa.
A quagga. What made them different from regular zebras?
They had a very unique coat pattern, with stripes primarily on the front half of their bodies. There's actually a project in South Africa called the Quagga Project, which is selectively breeding zebras to try to recreate the quagga's distinctive appearance.
So they're basically trying to breed back the stripes. That's fascinating. What about creatures from even further back in time, like dinosaurs? Are those completely off the table?
Unfortunately, when it comes to dinosaurs, Jurassic Park will have to remain in the realm of science fiction. Dinosaur DNA is far too degraded to be used for de-extinction.
Ah, too bad. But who knows what scientific advancements the future holds? What seems impossible today might become reality tomorrow.
You're right. The field of de-extinction is still in its infancy, and we can anticipate many more exciting developments in the coming years. It's a rapidly evolving field.
It's a truly mind-boggling concept, full of possibilities, challenges, and ethical dilemmas. It's a story that's still being written, and we're all witnessing this unfolding scientific and ethical saga. It's truly captivating.
And it's a story that has the potential to reshape our relationship with the natural world and redefine our role as stewards of this planet. It's a powerful concept to consider.
Before we wrap up our discussion on these incredible possibilities and weighty ethical considerations, let me remind everyone to like and subscribe to My Mind Mashups. For more intriguing deep dives into the world of knowledge, you can find us on Amazon Music, Audible, Facebook Pocket Casts, Spotify, and YouTube. We'll be back soon with the final part of our de-extinction exploration. It's incredible to think that we might one day, walk outside and see a woolly mammoth or hear the call of a dodo.
It really is a paradigm shift in how we think about extinction. It's not a one-way street anymore. We have the potential to bring back what we've lost and change the story of life on Earth.
And that's what makes de-extinction so fascinating. It forces us to confront fundamental questions about our relationship with nature, our responsibility for past extinctions, and our role in shaping the future of biodiversity. It's a topic that sparks debate, captures the imagination, and pushes the boundaries of what's scientifically possible.
You summed it up perfectly. It's a blend of science, ethics, and a sense of awe. Ultimately, it's a story about hope. A hope that we can learn from our mistakes and create a future where both humans and nature can thrive.
On that note of hope, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dives into the world of de-extinction. It's been a truly fascinating journey.
It certainly has. And remember, this is just the beginning of the story. The field of de-extinction is constantly evolving, and we can expect to see many more breakthroughs and ethical dilemmas in the years to come.
So, to our listeners, we leave you with this final thought. If you had the power to bring back one extinct species, which would it be and why? It's a question that challenges us to think deeply about the value of biodiversity, the interconnectedness of life, and the legacy we want to leave for future generations. And if this deep dive sparked your curiosity, don't forget to like and subscribe to My Mind Mashups. For more intriguing explorations into the world of knowledge, you can find us on Amazon Music, Audible, Facebook Pocket Casts, Spotify, and YouTube. Until next time, keep those minds mashing.